Hi, welcome to Texas Lone Wolf Mikhail, your source for Red Pill Truth. Today we're going to be talking about Delta Male and how it affects relationships. All right. So now, right here we're going to talk about Delta Male, how it affects relationships. So we're going to dig into it. All right. So, in the social bedroom fund hierarchy, Delta Male is perhaps most prevalent from form of man. They're the average Joes out there. They show up to work, they clock in, go do their thing, and then clock out, go home, enjoy their time off. They're the foundation. They're made up of regular guys who go to work and make their own choices, participate in society, find pleasure in it, our pursuit of diverse, and acknowledge different types of personality. They do their best to understand them and be more inclusive. All right. However, as they evolve, the hierarchy alters and changes. Okay, they either go up or they go down. And also, they're introverts as well. The Delta males are introverts. Okay, and they're very hard to fall in love and stay in love with. All right, that's the character most likely increase or decrease down that hierarchy. Okay. Now, what are Delta males? Okay, Deltas are their contributors to be recognized in the humanity. Okay, the individual feel proud of executing important roles within the system. Effective alphas understand how to manage, satisfy, suitably compensate their deltas for their effort. Deltas, unlike gammas, are merely interested in becoming alphas. They're rarely interested, okay? Now, let's take a good look at this. Delta grow in power and dominance, hierarchy, compact structure. Men that often move away from the social ladder on the other side are known as Sigma males, all right? Well, already done a topic on that, okay? There's nothing been finer in time and history of becoming a Sigma than now. The oldest civilization, Delta, worked for blood and effort propelled the Industrial Revolution since the 1700s, so to speak, okay? All right. In terms of love and friendship, how did Delta fare? Deltas aren't fully solitary. They may not always appreciate being in a close circle. They spend time on the periphery. Deltas have the ability to listen closely and place value on top of other person rather than themselves, so to speak. So if you're a Delta like this, believe me when I have to say it, go out and sharpen your talents. Delta can be transformed into a dreamboat finding a perfect woman. Well, there's no such thing as a perfect woman out there, is there? What counts as you have to love? What counts is you love them deeply. True. What is the status of the Deltas in the profession? Deltas isn't at the level of organized food chain. He might be once owing to a catastrophic event he's fallen off the wagon. If you're a Delta, you might have your own reasons. I keep in mind whether you choose profession or relationship is up to you. It's possible that you have to break free from your funk. Oops. Being a regular citizen will place you in the same way as the rest of the such mob. Ooh. Did we say that's a democratic form of the social hierarchy? I don't know. You decide. If you desire success, love, and everything else, you need to put more effort than usual. You could have been a prior leader or simply someone who is content by trying extra hard as he could. So, um, how to deal with a Delta male? These are average Joe. These are the blue collar workers. They come to work, they go to clock in and clock out and go home and enjoy their time off. Okay? In comparison to other members of social order, how can Delta fare? Here's a glimpse at him through the eyes of each personal characteristic. Alpha male Delta doesn't mind. He can gain leadership rank at the moment. He simply wants to put forth as much effort as possible. In comparison to the beta male, the Delta, unlike the beta, is unconcerned with being in that circle of friends as the great leaders. They're both introverts, but then in a different way, beta males tend to distinguish out due to the nerdy, helpful personality. Deltas simply want to disappear. So, in comparison with the gamma male, despite the delta and gamma aren't really members of a close circle, deltas nevertheless want enough just to work hard, while the gamma may be misconstrued as being too indolent in pursuing its goal. Gammas also skate on the outskirts, but they want to set their own laws. Talking about the gammas. Alpha male versus the deltas are still attempting to follow the rules of the game. The omega, on the other hand, is content to live outside the outskirts of society. They're basically the outcast misfits, okay? The delta follows its own set of rules and is concerned about standing out from the crowd. Now, so you found yourself dating a delta male. What now? He's known as an aggressive, a beta, or a matured alpha. He possesses combined alpha and beta characteristics because courage and empathy are not mutually exclusive. Simply put, it appears as follows. So, the male delta, okay, he understands what he wants but refuses to let his ego get in the way. Instead of being selfish, he's self-satisfied. Okay? Possesses assertiveness rather than violent energy. Nice to know that. Opposite being the self-absorbed but is self-aware. Okay? He's able to deal with discomfort. Rather than fight with women, he collaborates with them. Rather than see with women as things, he sees them as partners. Nice. Rather than expecting his needs, he must be met. He offers values. Sweet. Communication takes precedence over validation. Rather than be led by fear, he spends his life with love. Rather than seeing oneself as a victim, he considers himself as a learner of life. Okay? Instead of going after meaningless objects, he seeks out important encounters. Do you recognize yourself in a delta male personality characteristic? If that's the case, I'd offer you some suggestions how to cope with the issues you're having. You want to live a fuller life, you don't have to accept this way of life. Change is difficult, but it is possible. Be more transparent with others. If you're shy and find it hard to relate to your friends and colleagues, make an effort to connect to be yourself. Tell others how you feel and be. Yeah, well, see, men are not emotional beings, my friend. And have fun with others. Delta men are known for their sense of humor. That's the very important part. Allow yourself to relax. Since they have a barrier built, delta males may find it difficult to connect emotionally with others. Yes. This could be due to the fact that they have been injured before and do not want to get it again. Delta males desire love and affection deep inside. When they let one guard down, they may be fantastic lovers. Don't make comparison to others. Low self-esteem can have a significant impact on a delta male's lifestyle. Learn to acknowledge your strength and compliment yourself on them. Each individual has excellent and bad qualities. You're a wonderful person. All you need to do now is convince yourself this. Okay, let me scroll this up. Alrighty. You have the ability to make a difference. If you're a delta male who's lonely and low in personality, now would be the best time to make a change. You have the ability to improve yourself, be the person you truly desire. Put your grief behind you and concentrate on your personality and integrity. People will admire you, who you really are, and be grateful for your accomplishments. Alrighty. How to deal with a delta male in your life. Majority of men of the world are delta males. According to popular beliefs, as a result, delta male is by default an average guy, average Joe. And being average isn't necessarily a bad thing, okay? Society requires average guys to do average occupations. Governments across the world requires an influx of an ordinary individual to carry out their directives. Okay? It doesn't matter where you fall at on the social bedroom fund scale. You're still a real man and is very profound. The Delta male archetype, on the other hand, does not even try to improve. He stays right there where he's at. Okay? This is one of the major defects that undermine their pleasure. There are certain benefits in doing so. This is less demanding. Men can become lonely, insecure, dissatisfied as a result of the absence of success with women. Women are drawn to alpha traits like ambition, power, confidence, and boldness and leadership. If you don't have these talents, you will miss out on these career opportunities. It's difficult to be the Delta male, okay? Now, we're going to go ahead and get on this here. It's difficult to be a Delta male once you focus on creating a better world for yourself and being the absolute best of yourself. You'll get off track. You're continuously tripping over your hatred, bitterness, and wrath toward individuals who have harmed you in society. These are the average Joes who've been hurt in the past, okay? It was a basis of refusing to recognize and acknowledge you. Yes. Okay? So, when you look back on the existence of Delta Man, you'll know that you are periods where you thrive and matured and progress in leaps and bounds. All of a sudden, the progression just leaped to decelerate. You started going backwards. You understand one thing, over weeks, months, and even years, you were filled with rage, hatred, vengeance for those who have harmed you. Alright? Now, Now, alright, we're going to talk about this. So, what is a Delta male right here? He's the most common type of man in a social hierarchy. They're the backbone of society, consists of normal guys who show up to their job, lives, contribute to society, and take pride in the contribution. This also changes the archetype that is likely to move up and down the hierarchy as they develop them themselves. Hierarchy either shifts and changes. Digging deeper to the above, what does it mean to be a Delta? How do you know if you may be one? Perhaps more importantly, what does this being an archetype mean for you as a man? In this post, we're going to dive deep into the Delta male archetype. You're also going to learn the common Delta male traits and advantages and disadvantages that comes with them. Alrighty. So, first of all, where did the designation of Delta male even come from? The answer is social bedroom fund hierarchy. According to creator Vox Day, social is categorized in how men and boys relate to one another. What you are, how you behave, and what your natural inclinations are likely to be. Men are divided into 6 ranks or archetypes within a hierarchy. The ranks are alpha, beta, delta, gamma, omega, and sigma. Every rank has its own distinguishing traits and characteristics. In this post, we're going to go specifically examine the Delta male archetype. These were the people that worked on the assembly lines, put stuff together, built cars, built trucks, built this, built that. They're builders. They maintain civilization since the beginning of time, okay? Where do you rank? Take the simple quiz, and yes, okay. You'll get your ranking immediately. Alright? A quick disclaimer, okay? Um, he's the creator of the social bedroom fund hierarchy system. Now, if a man steeped in controversy, so his views aren't popular among those who disagree. They tend to be very unpopular amongst liberal feminists, anyone who are predisposed to hating anything to do with the manosphere. Okay. Now, with all that being said, here's my take on Vox Day's social hierarchy. I don't necessarily agree with everything he puts out, but I'm not an expert of all his views. Certainly don't share the extremity of his views, okay? As a man deeply committed to understanding human behavior, I find the social bedroom fund hierarchy fascinating. we're going to get into this, okay? Now, we're going to learn more and more and more about this. So I'm going to be highlighting all this so you can be able to read it on your screen while watching this YouTube video, okay? Now, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that, at least to a certain extent. Mr. Day seems to be correct in this assessment of categorization, okay, different roles men play in society. Alrighty. For this reason, I see the social bedroom fund hierarchy as a valuable self-awareness tool for men. It's a system we can use to increase our own self-awareness to attempt to become better men as we live and learn and work. Now, I don't believe that Vox Day's hierarchy should be all in all how we categorize ourselves as men. We're all different. We're all different at places in life. In fact, even Vox Day himself described the social hierarchy as a fractal and context independent. Long story short, we still strive on being better men. If you look at the social bedroom fund hierarchies, we can increase our self-awareness and help us do that and see it as valuable. With that being said, let's dive in and talk about the delta male. So, there it is. Now we have the alpha, beta, delta, gamma, omega, and the sigma. Now, the delta male is a normal guy in the social hierarchy. He isn't a leader like the alpha. He's relatively easily pleased. He takes pride in his role. Delta males often get married, have families, fulfill normal yet important roles to the community. They may be blue-collar workers, police officers, teachers, factory workers, bank tellers, and retail workers, etc. They are arguably the most important part of the associate hierarchies. Why? Because delta males are men who do the work and get things done. Okay? They show up to work, they put in their time, they contribute to society in a meaningful way, they spend money on the things they enjoy society, keep society moving forward. They also define success as smooth and functioning organization, project, operation, and hierarchy groups. The better the hierarchy, the rewarding it's caring for deltas, better off the hierarchy is going to be. Nowhere is this more plain seen than the corporate workplace. Okay? A company that takes care of their workforce, providing them with benefits, good bonuses, make sure to dole out enough perks to keep everyone happy and content is an example of a company that is effective caring for its delta workers. So, this speaks directly to the company culture. Gary Vaynerchuk is perhaps a thought leader on how effective to accomplish this. Delta are the guys on the assembly line. They're the everyday men who roll up their sleeve and make sure the work gets done. Without deltas, alpha, and nobody to command, and sigma, and nobody to society will collapse, so to speak. Without deltas, every hierarchy collapses, except for the sigma. The sigma knows how to maintain, or knows how to survive without anybody in that hierarchy. Okay. The deltas collectively choose to leave the hierarchy. Everything crumbles and then turns to chaos. This is what happens when workers go on strike. All right, we're going to get into this. If the alpha wishes to be successful as a leader, he must appeal to the deltas under his command. Yes, and most time in this corporate world, there tend to be people up in positions tend to like to step on people below them and put blame on them for company misfortunes and what have you. Okay, so now we're going to talk about that for another time. Okay, so let's get back into this video here. Deltas demand respect for the contribution of society. They take pride in performing such vital function within a hierarchy. They want recognition for their hard work. Okay, smart alpha male understand that alpha and deltas need each other. Okay. The alpha draws his power and status from a position at the top of the hierarchy, but All of this energy that sustains hierarchy feels the need of power to come from the deltas within that hierarchy. Therefore, successful alphas become successful by learning how to successfully lead, please, adequate reward deltas for their hard work within the hierarchy. Deltas, unlike gammas, do not usually wish to become alphas. In fact, advanced deltas come to see alphas for what they truly are, lofty servant leaders, whose entire purpose is to provide better structure for the deltas. As long as the delta to alpha can come to the negotiating table mutually agree on mutually benefit role terms, two archetypes have one of the most rewarding relationships within the hierarchy. So, deltas derive within the stable framework and society dominance of the hierarchy. The more stable the hierarchy is, the better it becomes for the delta way of life. Sigma males, on the other hand, are men who choose to walk away from the dominance hierarchy altogether. They choosing to leave the hierarchy comes with its own risk. They're willing to take that risk. To wherever there's risk, there's rewards. You see where I'm coming at with this? There's never been a better time to be a Sigma than a modern time, because in the context of modern day society, it's much better, safer to walk away from the hierarchy tribe than it used to be. It's much safer now because everything is being more automated with AI and robots, and you kind of get the picture right here, okay? Now, this speaks on a positive societal progress. This progress mostly built upon the shoulders of Delta men who came before us. For example, the birth of successful agriculture made it possible by hard work and labor of the ancient human Delta workforce. All right, these were the manual laborers of that time, okay? The Industrial Revolution was powered by blood, sweat, and work ethics of the Delta men who lived and worked in the late 1700s. All right? The First and Second World Wars were won by men in the trenches. The vast majority of them were deltas. Did you get it? As a result, we lived in a world where their sigmas have inherited the opportunity for individual freedom without many of the dangerous predators, enemies, starvation, disease that would have made the tribe much more risky, even deadlier affairs 10,000 years ago. All right? To the great degree, this is owed to the labor and sacrifice of the Delta workforce of the history. Michael Sherman does a great job describing how the world has actually gotten a lot better and safer in the best-selling book, More Art. How Science Made Us Better People. This is an interesting read for a book for people who struggle to see how much good has been accomplished in the world as a result of scientific advancement. Alrighty. Are you a Delta? 7 traits of a Delta male. Okay, number 1, they're most likely archetype to move up or down in the hierarchy. Okay. Now, every man is free to rise as far as he's willing, but it's only the degree to which he thinks that determines which degree he will rise. One of the most interesting aspects of the Delta male archetype is that they're the most likely archetype to change their station within a hierarchy at some point in life. Deltas can ascend to the beta rank, even become alphas if they are motivated enough to do so, okay? Delta can dip into an intellectual idealism, cross over to gamma male territory, or they take the black pill and strike out with women and become disillusioned with life and become omega males. Now, I've done a story on this, I think, yesterday or something like that. Now, number 2, they're the men who actually get the work done. Delta males are the men in the trenches. They show up to work, they clock in to get the work done, and they clock out and go and pursue their hobbies, interests, whatever extracurricular escapes to bring them happiness. If you have a regular job where you clock in at work and a certain time, you perform a certain function every day, you're not the CEO, owner of the company. Odds are you're a Delta male in the workplace, the hierarchy. You're the Delta. Number 3, Delta pride themselves on competence. Okay. All right. Delta males take pride in their work. They strive to do it well. They can also quickly become disillusioned with workplace if leadership makes doing good, prideful work impossible. For example, I used to work at a massive retail outlet store. At the store, leadership often made conflicting decisions to make it almost impossible to get meaningful work accomplished. This made the job feel like a soul-sucking black hole to many workers. The turnover rate was extremely high as a result. This is an example of a Delta male disillusionment. Delta male wants to do a good job. They want to take pride in it. They're not allowed to follow the appropriate environment to accomplish it. They will quickly become disillusioned and lose faith in a hierarchy leadership. Number 4, they don't want to lead. Delta males generally don't have the leadership ambition. They want to show up, do what they're paid to do, clock out, spend their free time, enjoy whatever forms of escapism they wish to pursue. As long as they're allowed to do their work and they're compensated fairly, they are recognized for their contribution, are treated with respect, and provided with the environment, conduct and taking pride in what they're accomplishing, they tend to remain content and happy. Number 5, they're disinterested in pleasing the alpha. Okay. All right. Unlike betas or gammas, delta males have little interest in pleasing the alphas. They respect the alphas who maintain strong functional hierarchy, but by contrast, they tend to dislike alphas who fail at this. The advanced delta males are seen as alpha as a servant of the people. If he can't fulfill his role adequately, they'll seek to remove him or replace him with someone who they believe will do a better job. If you think this sounds like democracy, then you would be correct. A democratic system gives Delta the power to effect change over their own hierarchies. This tends to work quite well when effectively employed. Number 6, they desire respect. So, the most important thing you can get from another person is respect. It's far more important to be respected than to be liked. You gain respect from others by respecting yourself, having high standards, being clear with your boundaries and intention, add value to be in service with no expectations, stay calm under pressure, keep your word and promises. Yep. Delta demand respect for their hard work and contribution to the hierarchy. Any hierarchy that fails to respect and acknowledge the value that reward the hard work of the deltas when they're generally a stone thrown away from erosion. This stands to reason because deltas bring the greatest value to hierarchy in terms of work accomplished through they reap fewer benefits than the alphas and the betas. For this reason, wise leaders manager will make sure they cater to the delta workforce. Not always the case, but sometimes it usually is the case when they have a high turnover rate of a business. That's usually indication of poor management, okay, so to speak. Poor management. Now, this is why the idea of a servant leader is a successful and universal principle. Number 7, they just successful enough women to raise family and have children. Yes. These are the everyday Joes that go to work, punch in and punch out, go home, tend to the family, tend to the children, what have you, okay? Deltas aren't as successful with women as alphas and betas and sigmas. They're definitely more successful than gammas and omegas, yes. This is the only group that actually stands out from the gammas and omegas. Gammas and omegas are pretty much the misfits and outcasts and lawbreakers and what have you, okay? Deltas are very average by definition. Women tend to prefer men with higher status, more power, more and greater resources. So, with that being said, okay, this is why Fox Day decided institutional monogamy as one of the biggest achievements of the Western civilization. Monogamy keeps the alpha and betas from hogging all of the desirable women, leaving more women to marry deltas. This gives rise to the traditional family dynamic, which is good for the deltas. In turn, is good for society. Monogamy is a force that actually helped benefited everyone at one time, okay? And that is changing a little bit, okay? All right, that's changing a little bit. That's changing. Benefit of delta male lifestyle. main benefit of being a Delta male is the simplicity of it. Did you know they're also introverted? Their Delta males are pretty bedroom fun successful in the sense that they're continued coupled with women who are somewhere near their same social position and level of attractiveness. So that's very good news to know. Okay. So in the grand scheme of things, Delta men tend to do pretty well with the females. Delta males also enjoy lots of benefit offered by the stable social hierarchy. They make good enough money to live well. They experience less stress than most of the other positions within a hierarchy, with the only exception with the being betas and sigmas. They tend to marry, buy houses, build up retirement, and have children. All right, a drawback of being okay. Drawback of being a sigma male, the delta male. I'm sorry. Okay. The main drawback being a delta male is that high-value women who tend to date or marry them may eventually tend to want to upgrade to men with more status, income, and power. Women often settle down with delta while secretly fantasizing with either cheating with alpha men, branching off, and upgrading to one and all together. A delta who's on a game can head us off by leveling himself up, maintaining his high value in the bedroom fund marketplace. But this requires a lot of extra work delta males struggle to keep up with. Now, sometimes these men, they get taken to the cleaners and the divorce courts, okay? They get taken to the divorce courts. Deltas let themselves go. They gain weight, stop working on themselves, etc. They face the danger of being left divorced if their wife or girlfriend gets a chance to branch off to a man with more money, better look, higher status, more power, etc. Conclusion: are you a delta male? Hopefully this post has helped you answer this question for yourself. Of course, the key to leveraging a social bedroom fund hierarchy is to use it as a tool to understand yourself better, okay? To do this, we can put into work required to become better, happier, and more successful as men that make our life better. If you want more tips, tricks, advice from men, check out our YouTube channel. Now, go with grace, gentlemen. Never give up on your power. FAQs, frequent asked question, are women attracted to delta male? Yes, they tend to be attracted to delta male to a certain point. If given a chance, they will usually choose an alpha or beta over a delta. In other words, if you're in a relationship with them, they'll break up with you and go with them. No, that's the worst case scenario, okay? What can a delta men do to increase their dating success? Delta men who hit the gym, work hard to increase their income, invest in their wisely, and level up to become high value men can get great results in the dating marketplace. At some point, delta men continue to work on themselves, increase their value, usually cross over into alpha male territory. This gives them the best odds for success with women. Is it attractive to be a delta male? Delta males are normal guys such. They neither considered especially attractive nor especially unattractive based on their social archetype. Okay? Individual choice of a delta male make therefore have profound impact on how attractive or unattractive he becomes. It's all about increasing your value, becoming a most successful man, keeping your head in the game. So, that being said, these men are highly susceptible of being divorced or broken up with. Okay? Now, with that being said, these here are they're more susceptible to be broken up with. Okay? Now, I've already covered this. Now, I've already covered that. Okay. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get that. Okay. Do, okay. All right. Delta male, loser or hero. All right. Well, So you took the personality. So you're Delta. No, not an Alpha, not a Beta. Do you need to worry about it? Perhaps not. Maybe you need to crash course on what a Delta's like. Okay. What is a Delta male? People don't talk much about Delta male. They don't talk about them. You must admit, does it mean Delta is an automatic loser though? No, they're no, not really. Delta male has the qualities of both alpha and betas. That may surprise you. Let us see why this is the case. If you know someone, maybe yourself steering away from the group, you may be looking at either Delta or Sigma. However, while Sigmas are mysterious, Delta have experienced what it's like to be an Alpha. They had decided to forego the Alpha road, becoming quieter. Okay, they're the quiet Alphas. Okay, so to speak. Sadly, Delta can also be the guy that blends in with the rest of the group, so you barely even know he's there. Do Delta males even exist? Yes, Delta males exist. Wherever you go, you see a former Alpha retreat to a quieter road. You're looking at a Delta, if not a Sigma. This is a man who is matured and realizes his confidence does not always seem to mean neglecting relationships, self-absorption, and winning. Delta men exist. They're everyday Joes, okay? They're a little more complex than the other personality type because they have experienced straddling the gap between alphas and beta. They're more like a real person, complete with complicated traits. Okay, however, your realness may mean that they are just about every guy you meet. Yep, your average Joe, your everyman, your John Doe. Do you really want to regulate yourself to a role in life? Let's hope you say no to that. There is, after all, a way to improve yourself without giving up your quiet pleasures. Some people make anything more complicated by describing Delta males as men who used to be Alpha males who transitioned and become Gamma males, and later on they became Deltas. So if you later describe, if your latter description of, you must get over your chipped shoulder. Now, what are the characteristics of a Delta male? They're aloof. He goes his own way, much like a lone wolf, but not quite. He'd rather sit at his own little table away from the rest. On the other hand, he might be there with the rest of the crowd, but not really standing out one should. He doesn't care if he belongs to the crowd or not. To the point of him that he doesn't really care if he belongs to the crowd anyways. He's okay with his setup. Really, perhaps he's just too content. Despite this, he knows his value of teamwork. He can be a nice guy. Oh yes, nice guy. Because he knows not everything is just about him. He will listen. He knew what it was like to be at the top and fears the top. Okay, the Delta male may have been an Alpha who's gone through something life-changing, possibly a tragic event or a learning experience. He knew what it was like to lead a group, but now he tries as much as he can to avoid it. Some Deltas, on the other hand, do not want to reach out for the stars. They'd rather be on their own little corners. Number 4, lonely. Because of his aloof ways, people may not be thrilled to invite a Delta guy to parties. They don't want to deal with someone who looks like he's carrying a weight of the world. It's very interesting, is it? Number 5, he's self-aware. Big point, bottom point is he's not selfish. He knows himself. He knows how to use his keen observation to see how others are. Number 6, he's assertive. Okay, assertive. Because he lets go of a higher authoritative position, he does not mean he lacks conviction. He has enough intelligence to retain the best of his alpha personality. Okay, he's an alpha, but he's not in that top tier. Okay. Unfortunately, we had to be made aware of some lower level deltas does not have an ounce of ambition in their bodies. They would rather exist than work on their aspiration. Okay, he's aloof. He does not care if he belongs to the crowd. He knew what it was like being on the top and fears the top. Lonely, self-aware, assertive. Are Delta males rare? We're going to answer this question here, okay? Now, Delta males are possibly rarer than the other personality types, okay? After all, you perhaps looking at a tragic hero who's either matured or fallen from his alpha pedestal. Okay. Man, we are learning some good stuff, aren't we? Okay. However, it would be hard to tell if a person did that usually didn't get invited to parties or an event is a delta or an alpha. Okay. Perhaps you would feel more tragic edge instead of a mysterious one. You're comparing him to a sigma, for example. Okay. Um, anyways, what are some of the delta male symbols? There's no particular symbol associated with the delta males. Okay. Um, in primates, the delta is a fallen leader who now works hard to make the group's best. Hmm. How does the delta fare against the other members of the social hierarchy? Here's a look at him and the personality type versus the alpha. At this point, delta doesn't really care if he reaches the leadership status. He just wants to work hard as he can. Maybe he has seen as the former leader just a person content with working as hard as he can. Unlike the versus the beta male, delta doesn't really care for being within the same social circles as the leading guys. Both of them are introverted, but in a different way. Beta males still manage to stand out because of their geeky, supportive ways. Deltas just want to blend in. Versus the gamma male, the troublemakers, okay? While the deltas and gamma are not part of the inner circle, delta still cares enough to work hard, while the gamma may be misunderstood as too lazy to reach for his dreams. Gammas do not skate through the fringes, but they make their own rules. All right, the versus the omega male. Okay, delta's still trying to play by the rules. The omega, on the other hand, just live within the edge of society. Delta has his own rules, doesn't mind being a part of the crowd. Okay, how deltas fall in love and friendships. Deltas are not loners, not completely. They may not enjoy being in the inner circle all the time, but they'll be lingering by the fringes. They're unwilling to make friends and with top tier guys. He just wants to do as well as he can. So we're going to talk about this. Do deltas truly fall in love? Deltas do fall in love, okay? However, some women may not used to have. They can be sarcastic or sardonic, even in that type of humor. As a former alpha left the spotlight, some women may be intrigued. Deltas do have the capacity to listen intently and give importance to the person, but not himself. Okay, he just listens and he won't think of himself. He thinks of others. Okay. However, this is not the unambitious delta women may put off. If you're this type of delta, believe me, you need to get out there and develop some great skills. As a woman, I love delta listening skills. He could do with a little toning down on the sarcasm and bitter repartees. Oh, this is a woman talking, okay? In the end, you can find the right woman will transform into a delta into a dreamboat. For some women, it does not matter what you look like. What matters is you truly love them. Those are very hard to find these days. Of course, it also helps you have enough confidence to approach your dream woman in the first place. Okay. How deltas in their careers. Delta's not top of the corporate ladder. You might have once been, but you slid off due to a significant event. If you are a delta, you may have your reasons, but remember, may it be all up to you if you want to career or relationship. You may have to get out of your funk. Being an average Joe will put you right there in the spot, rest of the crowd. If you want the success, love, and the rest of it, you must use more than your usual dose of hard work. All right, what motivates a delta? Okay, a delta is motivated by being good as he possibly can at his job. Is his personality type values intelligence. Okay. Deltas are the backbone of society. That's something everyone should understand. While the alphas trying to make themselves better, deltas help make everyone else's life better. They're delivering on their jobs. While the betas are working in the background, the wind beneath the alpha wings, deltas do not find if they find work outside the corporate circle. They're motivated by the bottom line. How do you become a delta male? People do not really want to become delta, the truth be told. But alpha may consider becoming one by giving up the pedestal that they're on. Beta should stop lingering by the fringe of society. On the other hand, gammas have to tone down their quirks as sigmas stop working their defiant, underhanded sense of mystery. Well, I don't know what to tell you there. You would have to, okay, you would have to be that hardworking average guy to be a delta. Okay? In some ways, this is a good idea for guys experienced getting burned out. It's time to take a break from the spotlight. Alrighty. What are some famous delta males? You don't get to meet a lot of famous delta males. It's because these guys are every man from every profession. They don't exactly stand out, but they do their best not to. However, you may think some guys who may have the right to the job, all of a sudden you may not heard from them in a while. Okay, perhaps you're dealing with a delta is someone who just said enough with this society. Alrighty, conclusion. You can see deltas everywhere. You got your mail on time, you might have to think of delta somewhere. Somebody at the government office approved their application. Few deltas may have been responsible. Deltas are not your CEO or geek geniuses, hipsters, rock stars. What you get from a delta, however, is a lot more stable. What you see is what you get. There's no smoke and mirrors with the deltas. They give you what you ask of them. So are you a delta? Are you there? Nothing to be ashamed of. You're a significant contributor to society. You were once on top. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes we need a break from the spotlight to breathe. Live life as we choose it slowly, first, surely. Top tier guys secretly want to be you. Alright? They want out of that corporate prison they have found themselves in, racing every day just to complete what they need to do. Seeking attention is fantastic at first. It can get to you sometimes. You lose yourself. This is why some top CEOs drop out of their former job, not because of bankruptcy or other tragedy. They just want some quiet. But does that mean you should remain there in the spot? No, ambition should remain simmering in you. You may realize why you may be taking a break from it all, but you'll want to be up there. Wanting to be at the top does not have to be selfish. But it does not have to be no holds barred, stepping on other people's toes. Once you find a way to get up there again, give it a try. You can mellow it down a bit. Perhaps the world needs more delta guy, hardworking, intelligent, but not self-absorbed. Still, you need to be aware of the trap delta guys get caught in. Being too crowd pleasing, be your own self. True conclusion, delta guys can be either heroes or losers. Don't be the latter. Alright. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do this one here, okay? Now, this was March in 2022. What do you need to know about the Delta Mate Trail personality and 9 traits of this guy? Okay? Now we're going to get into this. So we're going to get this, okay? Now, we're going to go through all this, okay? Just when most people think they have a personality type figured out, it turns out there is a delta male. That's right, there's actually 6 male personality types. Alpha, beta, delta, gamma, omega, and sigma. Okay, so this personality type system came from a study from animal hierarchy. Psychologists applied it to humans. For those of you that are familiar with either of these personality types, you may have mistaken yourself for someone else, or yourself for something else. Delta male personality is quite different from the alpha, even beta type. Knowing that the delta male traits can help you determine if you are one. What is a delta male? A delta male is more introverted than a beta because it's hard to get to know the delta. It's impossible for most people to figure him out. He's very private, avoids confrontation, so other people do not have the chance to become familiar with him. Delta male personality is often the guy who once one of the other personality type, but something occurred in his life, making him more reserved. So I'm going to go ahead and close this session, and you can find this rest of this information at liveboldandbloom.com/3/personality dash type slash delta dash male to read more on this. So he's very secret. As I said, he's secret. Low self-esteem, loneliness. Oh, I didn't get into this. He's also self-sabotaging. I said he's loneliness. He's resentful. He's self-sabotage. He's resentful. And sometimes people go through a phase of resentment towards the world, but the delta male has it in spades. It's typical for a delta male to have experienced some kind of significant change or life crisis. He's old negative emotion inside, turns them out towards other people. Ooh, ouch. Reacting to being stuck in the past, he can rarely be present. He seeks to blame other people for his problems. Resign. He's given up on the possibility of good things, good people, because resignation. Okay. Giving up. Oh wow. Non-competitive. I didn't cover that. And anyways, I did cover that. Man, he's a self-sabotage. So I'm glad we covered this. So we're going to go ahead and close this off. All right. I'm glad you got a chance to watch this. And peace.